Okay, so first of all, before I get into who I am, why I'm here, all of those things, here's what I would love to know. When you saw leading with direction, when you saw that topic, what made you say, I want to sign up for that? I want to be there. So I would love just to take a couple of shares of who, like, what was one of your first thought that you thought that would really be good for me? You can unmute.
Yeah, I can go first. Yeah, I'm Kalyani, so lately joining from New Jersey. And I'm right now being a developer, but I'm trying to move on to leading teams. So I thought this will be a good idea. And also I'm doing my MBA in strategic management and leadership. So interested in that area.
Okay. Awesome. So stepping into leading teams, leading yourself, all of those things. Awesome. Okay, great. Who else?
I think for me, it was really like, you know, more news and more things happening kind of makes me feel like a compass spinning in like a storm of some sort. You know what I'm saying? So I thought anything that has some direction might be good to listen to right now.
Awesome. Yes. Okay, great. We will talk about that. All right, who else?
Hey, I just like to learn better and more innovative ways to lead. I'm an executor and I'm an adapter, and I want to know how to strengthen who I already am.
Love that.
That was like a good answer. I don't even, I got nothing. Forget about it.
It's like Family Feud. Good answer.
I know. Who's got the best answer? Although, Jess, that was pretty legit too.
Thanks, Bethany.
Awesome. Who else?
I'm a supporter.
Hey, good. This is Carol. I'm on the people side of change, so I'm kind of change management consultant with tech projects. So I'm always focused on leaders and sponsors in the organization. So anything around leading, I care about. So yeah.
Yeah. Leadership is key. Awesome. Okay. What else?
Hi, this is Rose. I'm coming to you from California, and it's a pleasure to be able to network with so many other great women. The reason that I joined was definitely interested in leadership. As the owner of a small business, I think it's imperative that I keep up with so many things that are going on. But also I'm part of a nonprofit that focuses on leadership, so always trying to gather all those other ideas that apply.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else?
The one quiet group.
I was reading Ingrid in here. Have been leading from personality rather than leading from mission. Okay, awesome. Awesome. And that leads me into my next question. So what is your greatest challenge when it comes to leadership? Because I heard a lot of you saying, I want to work on my leadership. So, or I want to work on leadership with teams. What is your greatest challenge that you're facing right now in leadership?
I'll go. This is Natalie. I think really just focusing on leading in with a purpose and making sure that you're doing it in a more directive way. And so that way it's more adaptive and it's not so much taken as, you know, a bossy or, you know, all those other great descriptive words that a lot of people describe women leaders with.
You mean the B word?
Right, bossy, that's what she said.
Right, yes, very bright. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is Andy Perkins. Hi. So I think for me, the biggest challenge right now, especially given the environment, is continuing to lead with direction for our organization while also leading our team through just challenging times right now. So I feel like I'm constantly reacting to helping push the team forward with every VUCA that is presented to us right now, but yet, you know, still providing that direction for the business because we need to pull everybody back in. And so, you know, so I think that's probably, you know, just the reactionary and what we're leading through right now, I don't think anyone has ever given us a handbook for. And and that's also, you know, kind of to the first question too, what brought me here. So
Powerful, powerful, awesome, thank you. Anyone else? Biggest challenge in leadership right now?
I think being everybody's cheerleader all the time, it's exhausting. And keeping your own head straight, you know, thinking positive, keeping open to possibilities, especially when a lot of the masses or people that you're leading are really worn down and perhaps negative, overwhelming, you know, negativity.
For me, working in higher education, considering the inequalities related to social justice right now, I think my biggest challenge is trying to lead those that have major differences, but trying to come to a perspective of just trusting and loving each other. So leading in a very challenging manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We really, if you think about it, for all of us that are alive at this moment, it's one of the most challenging, if not the most challenging time that anybody's ever lived in of our generation. And so we're facing things, just like you were saying, no handbook. We're facing things we've never faced before. And this is when the best things actually are created. Diamonds are created under pressure. Diamonds are created under pressure. Ideas are born because of challenges that need immediately solved. So we are in that time right now. So it's a perspective of how am I actually looking at the world in this moment? So we have choices. So I love that. Any other challenge that hasn't been mentioned yet for leadership that's really coming to mind?
For those of you guys who haven't joined before, this is such an open, protected environment, so nothing you say is going to be judged in any negative way. If it is, I'm going to say it straight to your face. I'm just kidding.
Anything else? Going once. Going twice.
Yeah, so I put it on the chat also, but it's another, for me, like, you know, the challenge would be to motivating the team members and trying to coach them, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, motivating team.
If I could add, Keri, just not knowing like when the end is of all this. So it's like we're having to make decisions, you know, like with WITI, we've kind of had to shift real quick, move everything virtual. Now, you know, we had this whole web project going on. Now we're trying to get that going. We have other things we're doing too. So it's just like, you know, I guess, do we just accept we're like this going forward, or how, you know, do I say, okay, June next year, I'll kind of plan virtual, then after that back?
Yeah. Yeah. Who else is having that? Like, man, I wish somebody would give me a timeline. Yeah. Okay. So let's speak into that just for a second. So that is our need for control. That is our need for control. And right now we are being tested in every form and fashion to let go of control. Because back to what I was saying, ideas are born when there's an immediate need for a solution. Diamonds are created under pressure. We babies are born in situations where we cannot control. They come at their own time. We have a timeline, but they've got their own timeline. And so when you really look at it, the greatest things in life, majority of them are not things that you planned and you controlled. So one of the things that's happening right now is testing us to truly create surrender. And this is why leading with vision is so incredibly important, because are you surrendered to a vision, or are you being dictated by circumstance? Okay. So right now, many people are living based off of the circumstance. And so we're trying to manipulate what we're doing, create what we're doing based off of the circumstance. So the question is, I can stay there and the circumstances will continue to change, or I can be the leader that is creating regardless of the circumstance. So we have a choice at any time. Which one is more empowering?
Creation,
Creation.
definitely.
Which one do you have more choice?
Creation.
Creation. Which one's easier?
Creation.
No,
I think.
reacting to circumstances. Oh,
Which one am I responsible versus which one do I get to let someone else be responsible?
That's a loaded question.
Planning?
Planning. So if I am fully in response to circumstances, what's responsible? The circumstances. I've given all of my power away to the circumstances. When I am in creation and I'm operating from a vision and I'm anchored to a vision, the power is now in I get to create the responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we may not like it, there's a piece of it that's easier to say, let me give the responsibility over to the circumstance. And that's not where creation's going to live. That's not where satisfaction's going to live. That's not where fulfillment's going to live. All of the things that you want are on the other side. However, it can be easier to operate there. So, and I just bring that to your attention because when we unveil a vision for you here in just a second, that is going to be the piece of, am I in a limitation or am I in possibility? And right now we're being called to all kinds of possibilities. Right now, I'm supposed to be in Phoenix, Arizona. Supposed to be, right? Supposed to be.
Me
I'm
too.
supposed to be in Phoenix, Arizona with y'all in person, right? My parents live in Phoenix, great. It would have been a win-win all the way around, right? So I can say I'm supposed to be because that was what Bethany reached out to me. We got to schedule it. That's what I put on my calendar. That was the plan that I put, and the circumstances aren't allowing it, right? So that could be one version of the story. The other version of the story is, wow, in November, I started getting I'm super spiritual. And so I started getting a really clear message that it was really time to not be traveling all the time. I've got 16-year-old, almost 16. Who's got teenagers? So I have almost 16-year-old twins. So in 9 days, I'm sending 2 boys out in 2 vehicles and being like, off you go. Off you go. Talk about letting go of control and surrender right there, right? So I started getting a very clear, like spiritual intuition, whatever you want to call it, that I got to stay home for at least 7 months. I got to be home because I was traveling a lot. And I just started really paying attention to that. And so what I did was I actually cleared my schedule because of that. COVID hit in that exact time, which is fascinating. And so I got very clear. So I run international retreats and my business is is all over the world. And I love it. And so when I got this like intuitive message that said, you know what, you get to stay home for a while. I was like, wait a minute, that's not the vision. So the question was, is it not the vision? Or was I locked into the way something had to look for the vision. So do I stand for the vision or the circumstance? So guess what? Here we are virtual. I've been home for 7 months. My business has moved forward leaps and bounds because I listened, I cleared. We've created some healthy changes in the family because of that. I'm seeing all kinds of changes. It's amazing. And I am actually in 2 trainings today. I'm in a 48-hour training that's virtual that I would normally be in California for. And I'm simultaneously in Arizona right now with you. So what we did was we created time travel in a way we
Could
never.
you help me go to Bali? Oh.
So yeah, so we created possibility that wasn't there before, right? So look at what's being created and what's opening up because of that. So in that, I just want to put those keys into your hands when we go into your vision here in a little bit. Who of you feels like you're operating, just super honest, do you feel like you're operating from a vision, or do you feel like you're operating from circumstances right now? So in the chat, just type circumstances or vision, circumstances or vision. Which one? Vision, 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 vision. Awesome. Vision, circumstances. If it can't be both circumstances, I love that. Both depending upon the day. Okay. A little of both. Vision. Okay, great. So here's what I'm going to tell you is at no time can we be in both. At no time can we be in both. Now, the circumstances may change what you're doing, but the question is am I operating based off of anchored in a clear vision, knowing that that's where I'm going no matter what? Or am I dialing back my vision, saying something's not possible because of a circumstance? That's the question, okay? That's what we're gonna look at. So I'm gonna give you a tool to start out with for today. I wanna blow your box open, okay? Today I wanna blow your box open. So we're in a box opening year. 2020 is a box opening year. Some people are like, put me back in the box. I liked it in there. So today I'm going to give you a tool, and it is one of my favorite tools. So how many of you run teams right now? How many of you have teams right now that you like manage certain people, those types of things? A few of you, and a few of you are stepping into that. A few of you have goals of that. Okay, great. How many of you have families? Okay. How many of you have a partner, spouse relationship? Great. Okay. So here's the deal. You get to use this with yourself. It's one question. How cool is that? Is one question. This is the greatest question you're ever going to ask yourself. And it is the greatest question that will change your relationship. It will change the way you lead your teams. And it will change the way you operate on a daily basis. How many of you are getting ready to go into, I know that for me, when I was in corporate, I used to work in healthcare. So healthcare, we did our annual evaluations every year, right about this time, July, August timeframe. And I remember I would have 70, at one point I had 79 individuals that reported to me. And so I could go into check, 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 is your performance on, is your performance on, is your performance on? Or I could actually have a meaningful conversation that was about vision above and beyond just what the company wanted. So ask yourself, what kind of leader do I actually want to be? What kind of leader do I actually want to be? And right now, we need women leaders that are willing to step in and create change. There is no better time than right now for women leaders to be leading with vision. Right now. Like it is huge. So we would do this, and what happened was we would ask this one question, and then it would open up a powerful conversation that would reveal where do we go next all the way around. Who wants it? Who's ready? Who's excited? There's a few of you like, I'm not excited.
About the question?
Yeah, I said,
I want to know.
You ready for the question?
I'm ready.
Great. Okay, so everybody get out a piece of paper. Got a piece of paper and something to write with in front of you. Okay, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes and then we'll do a check-in, okay? So don't start writing yet. I'm gonna ask you the question, one question. If at the end of the year, so just imagine it's a year from now, so it's July of 2021, okay? So if in a year from now, it was the best, most successful, most fulfilling year of your life, what happened? If it was the best, most successful, most fulfilling year of your life, what happened? And so I want you to answer that question as if it's July of 2021 and you just experienced the best, most successful, most fulfilling year of your entire life. And I want you to tell me everything that happened. And go.
You didn't want to know what I ate every day or anything, right? That's good because it gets the big picture thing gets lost, you know, with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Unless food is like the utmost. So you've got 3 more minutes. One more minute. All right, 10 more seconds. So whatever you're writing, finish up there. Okay, who has something written down on a piece of paper? You've at least started something. Who has nothing yet? Anyone? Anyone? Because you just want at least a start, okay? So, a couple things. In 2013, I told you that I worked in healthcare. So I was over multiple clinical departments, and my twins were, gosh, what, 9 at the time or something like that. And I had already gone through a divorce. I had really gotten to a point, and maybe some of you can relate, I'd really gotten to the point that my job was what I was great at. What I was great at. It's what I was known for. It's what I was great at. It's what everybody was like, she's really good at her job. And I was. So guess what? I lived there. And how nice. It was a 24/7 facility, open 365 days a year. So it's really easy to live there. So there was a night where, or not a night, there was a day where I made a decision. And I remember I made a decision that I was like, I knew when I made that decision that I was like you're putting your butt on the line with this decision. And it was a decision that was not in accordance of the policy of the hospital, but internally in my heart of hearts, I just knew that I couldn't sleep at night if I made a different decision. Like that was just where I was. And the very next day, I had no job. The very next day, I had no job. And I stood there and told my team of 79 people who I was well respected. I was well liked, and, I had close relationships with my team. And I remember telling them today's our last day. There was no extra time. So when we talk about time and things changing on a dime, there's so many situations, and you probably have many situations you can look back to say, man, that was a moment for me that everything changed. It could be you lost someone. It could be a diagnosis. It could be a job change like that. I mean, there's so many things. So just bring that up. And so what I really realized in that moment was I had given my entire life into that career because it is where I felt like that was working. What I didn't pay attention to was the areas that weren't working. So it was a great wake-up call when I lost the one thing that was working. So many times we grip onto the one thing. And when we grip really tightly, it's like water. If I pick up water and I hold my hand like this, is the water going to stay in my hand? Yes. If I grip it like this, is it going to stay in my hand? No. And so whatever we're holding tight to, that's our saving grace, whatever it is, somehow, some way, it's still going to slip through. Okay. So for me, that was one of my biggest wake-up calls. 2 weeks later, I found myself in New York City at Christmas time on 34th Street. No joke. 34th Street, Miracle, 34th Street at Macy's. And it was Christmas time and it was the windows, and my mom was with me, and she just knew like I needed to get away. So she, being the nice mom, took me to New York City to see the windows. But I was standing in New York City at Christmas time. It was snowing, and I remember the moment. It was very, very quiet, believe it or not, in New York City. And I looked up at the window, and there was a little kid on the window, and it was written in script above the little kid who was playing, and it just said believe. And what I remembered in that moment was, as a little girl, I had really, really big dreams. As a little girl, I had a great imagination. And then what I turned into was checking the boxes, was getting the degrees, which nothing wrong with any of that. But what I noticed was I was trying to climb and do the things that I thought everybody wanted me to do. And then all of a sudden it was gone. And I remember standing at the intersection as a single mom, divorced, never thought all of that, no job, thinking, how did I get here? How did I get here? And if I was really honest with myself in that moment, I actually, even though I smiled at work and I had good relationships, actually hadn't been happy or fulfilled in quite some time. Why? Because I wasn't operating from my personal vision. I was operating from everybody else's vision. And so I got to get really real with myself in that moment. And so I looked at that window and I said, not only am I at an intersection here in New York City, I'm in an intersection in life. I can go back and get another job, and I can continue working the way that I'm working and continue doing things right. Or what would happen if I actually went left? And that was my conversation. And so in that moment, I chose what would happen if I believed in my dreams again? What would happen if I started doing that and following a vision? Because going right actually wasn't working. And so that was my wake-up call. It was one of my biggest wake-up calls. I've had 3, but that was one of my biggest. And so in that moment, I decided I needed to figure out what the heck I wanted to create, not just what my work was telling me. And the reason that I'm bringing this to you today, all of you have work, and it is incredibly important, but it is one pillar of your entire life. And what happened was, believe it or not, I got hired back into the exact organization 4 months later to the day. But when I went back in, I went into a different department of a leader of a different, a whole different realm. But I made a decision that it was a part of me, not all of me. And so what I brought to the table for the leaders that I started leading in that moment was helping them uncover their vision. Because if they were whole employees that were showing up to work, they were showing up to work because they wanted to be there. They were showing up to work, giving their best selves. And I gave my best selves, and I started modeling that to them. And it made a difference for them and me, their families, my family, and all of that. Why? Because I was anchored in a vision, and I helped them get anchored in a vision. And so this one question, as simple as it may sound, starts a conversation of what's the bigger picture for you? What's the bigger picture for you? When you think of all of you, when you think of one leader right now, one leader that you are, it could be somebody you know in your organization. It could be a role model that you look up to. It could be a celebrity leader. It could be a Martin Luther King. It could be a, Michelle Obama. It could be a I'm like, who else am I thinking? Lady Gaga. It could be whoever. But think about one person that stands out that you're just like, wow, like they are a leader. They are a leader. And so bring that one person to mind. Everybody have that one person? Yeah? Okay, in the chat, here's what I would love you to put. What are the top 3 qualities that you see in that one person? What do you admire about that one person? And just in the chat, drop those qualities. Successful, talented, and admired. Okay. Honest, humble, and transparent. Pushing the envelope. Honesty, drive. Bold. Driven. Yeah. So when you think about them, are they operating from a true vision? A coach. Yeah. So a coach is seeing the end in mind, the bigger picture, and it's whatever it takes, regardless of the circumstances. I'm going there because I'm so driven to be locked in to the end of what I'm going to create, which is why I had you look a year in advance. So we're going to do a fun little game with this. Who would like to be a volunteer? Because then after that, we're going to go into breakout rooms, and you guys are going to do this with each other. So who would like to be the brave leader soul that will play with me here for just a second, that is willing to share? Who wants to be the volunteer? Gail? Yes. Yay.
What do I have to lose? I don't know.
I know. I love it. So like when you think about, so who's a leader? So who's the leader for you? That's somebody that like inspires you, that you're just like, man, like they really take a stand, or like, who is it?
Oprah.
Okay, great. What are the qualities? What are the qualities of Oprah?
I put in the chat box authenticity, intelligence, and I forgot the third one, but it's there. Yeah.
Okay. So do you see that she's like anchored in a vision?
Absolutely.
No matter what the circumstances, she's figuring it out.
Yeah.
Not only that, she's come up against some really tough circumstances.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And figured it out. Like no matter what, when you're up against it, matter of fact, talk about pressure creates diamonds.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like when it gets in you and there's something anchored that's bigger than you, it's amazing what can happen. And so it's really easy to get swept up in the day-to-day.
Absolutely.
Really easy. And so I'm here to wake you up a bit to what is it that I get to create, so that when I look back on life, was I living in regrets, reasons, or results? Regrets, reasons, or results?
Are you still talking to me or everyone?
Everyone.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're like, oh, yes. And then the number one thing, I will tell you, the number one thing at the end of our days, the number one thing that people will regret is that they didn't create the relationships that they wanted to. Yeah. So when I say results, I also mean relationships. Okay? Okay, so when you ask this question, okay, Gail, Madam Oprah.
Yes.
Okay, so when you guys go into breakout rooms, here's what you're going to be. You're going to be a partner A and a partner B. You get to stand for the person that you are partnered with, okay? Your entire goal is for them to go deeper and deeper and deeper into their vision. Okay? Clear?
There.
We're going to watch it in action. Everybody excited for Gail?
Oh, God.
They're like, ooh, it's getting juicy now. Okay. Okay. This is where it gets fun. Okay. So, Gail.
Yes.
In a year,
Mm-hmm.
what happened? You had the most amazing year. You had an epic year. It was like the most successful, most fulfilling, best year of your entire life. Like, wow. That was the most incredible year. What happened? Tell us.
I got a job. I acquired a job at NYU Abu Dhabi, as the dean of students there. Right off the Persian Gulf, my house overlooks the Indian Ocean. And I was able to impact the lives of students and faculty there, and as well as my own. And I remained wise, and I remained physically fit. I remained emotionally happy, and I gained strength in my faith.
Wow. That sounds amazing. What else happened?
What else? What else happened? I made about 150K a year that year.
What else?
What else? I got a $54,000 stipend to purchase or rent a home.
Awesome. What else?
What else? My first grandchild was born. I don't know.
What else? That's exciting.
What else? What else? My husband also received a professorial job at Abu Dhabi. And yeah, we renewed our vows.
Oh, yay. Where did you renew your vows?
We renewed them right there in the Saudi Arabia.
Oh my gosh. How beautiful. What else?
Oh, wow. What else? I also became the keynote speaker at the NYU US campus.
What else? That must have felt amazing. How many people were in the room?
Oh gosh, 5,000 at least.
Awesome. What else happened?
I lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not cute now, but you know, what else?
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
That feels amazing. What else happened?
I got a dog. How about that?
You got a dog?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yay, what kind of dog?
A Cocker Spaniel, sweet one, full breed.
What's its name?
A Chili. Because he's
Aw.
a reddish color.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So cute. What else happened?
Oh gosh, I also got a kitten. Are you kidding?
Awesome. What else?
What else? I continued with my consulting business in this different country. Right now it's in the United States, and now I'm carried it on to what is it called? The UAB. Yeah.
Oh, fun. What else?
Sorry. What else? I learned to wear the jihad and enter the mosque and learn their culture and their ways.
Oh, wow. What did you learn?
Oh, wow. Their culture that is different from mine, and that they don't reference Jesus, but they do reverence God. And I do reverence Jesus, and I can still remain with my beliefs, even though I'm in a different country.
What an amazing experience.
Yes.
What else happened?
And then I gained about 15 to 18 different friends, new friends from WITI. I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yay! And then what happened?
And then what happened? They taught me more about technology.
Yeah. So awesome to have such a great circle of friends. What else happened?
Oh my God, I'm so involved with WITI at this point. I learned instructional design. Yeah.
Very cool. And so how did that impact you?
That impacted me. I was able to do storytelling through creating modules to teach students more digital technology rather than the books. So they gain that knowledge as a millennial.
That's so cool. That is so cool. What else?
This is not going to end, is it? What else? Oh, I was able to buy another house here in the United States, a house right down the street from my current one.
Oh, very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
What do you love the most about that house?
About that house? Oh, that is purple.
That it's purple. Okay, what else? What else happened?
What else? I was able to invite 15 to 20 of my sorority sisters to Abu Dhabi to come visit me in my 4-story home.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. What else?
What else? Wow. At this point, I have an assignment as a professor at NYU in New York rather than Abu Dhabi. I still would teach in Abu Dhabi, but I'm also teaching in New York in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. It sounds like you had a really incredible year.
Yes, it was. Can I mute?
You need a year to recover.
Exactly, Bethany.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So Gail, come back off mute.
Yeah.
Just want to remind you that you volunteered.
Yeah, you're right.
She said, what do I have to lose? And it sounds like you gained an awful lot.
Yes.
What was your experience?
With this exercise? A great imagination, it's a vision, right? It's things that I probably deep inside my unconscious nature that I would love to happen.
Yes.
You pushed me.
Yes.
Feeling, but you pushed me.
Yeah. So here's what happens, and you guys are going to go in and do this for each other. So you each get to take turns being on both sides of the fence. So the biggest thing that I'm going to tell you is don't let the other person off the hook. Okay. So notice, even when you were watching, I want to reflect to you. For those of you that were watching, what was your experience?
Yeah.
I kept adding things to mine. When you guys kept talking, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that.
Okay. Okay. So it made you, because of her ideas, that then gave you new ideas. Yes. Okay. What else?
I was waiting for Gail to tell us about her new best friend, Oprah.
Oh, yeah. So you actually wanted her to go bigger.
I figured, you know, she was in the beginning of it, and then I figured this purple house will have a really cool closet too. So I'm excited to see what type of closet this big purple house will have.
Yeah.
Wow, Natalie.
Yeah. Anything else that you experienced while you were watching that?
I think it's a lot.
She had a purple house.
Purple house.
I know. I said I want to know why in the heck she chose a purple house.
Oh, purple house. Too funny. That was in the moment. So
no reason.
Yes. Yes. But that's the thing, is you got out of your head.
Yeah.
You got out of your head. Our visions and our dreams live inside of us in our hearts. And so you got out of your head. So what happens is when you start writing, and especially if you don't go far enough, which most of the time we don't, we stay up in our head, and our head loves limitations. Loves limitations. So it's exercises like this when we will surrender, that things pop out that you're like, really, I want a kitten? I want a kitten? I mean, that one was like shocking to you. So it's those types of things. The other thing I want you to notice is it was a mix between personal, business, enjoying life. It was fulfilling. It was fulfilling. And so sometimes we will surprise ourselves. Okay. So the biggest thing is don't let your partner off the hook. And so you get to be in high energy. You get to ask what else, and don't give them the answers. Okay. So notice when I asked the question, I only asked what else. I only asked what else. I may have wanted to know the color of the house, or I may have wanted to know something like that, but I didn't give her answers. I didn't lead her down any road. I gave her an open path and let her walk it. Often we don't do that for ourselves, and we also don't do that for others. So imagine giving this gift to your kids. Imagine giving this gift to a spouse or someone you're in relationship with. You will learn more about them in 5 minutes than you have in a really long time. About their hopes and dreams. And when you do this for a team, they see you're actually invested in them and the bigger picture. And then what's your part to get there? But the first place we got to go is what's yours? Like what's yours so you can get anchored into it. So let yourself be surprised. Let yourself play. Let yourself have a childhood imagination. So our amazing David is going to send you off to breakout rooms. Okay. So you're going to be in pairs of 2, as long as we're even. And when you get in there, partner A, somebody gets to be partner A, somebody gets to be partner B. Are we able to send instructions that pop up so that they can see them in the breakout rooms so we can let them know like time, like, okay, it's time to switch?
Yes, we can. I think we lost one, and I think one other may have to go.
I can, oh, one else is leaving?
Yeah, so then we'll be good though, because then, but Keri, you'll be part of a pair, and then, yeah, we're good. Let me just redo the rooms. Yeah, I'm ready to go whenever you are.
Okay, sounds good.
Do we know when to switch the power?
Well,
we'll have directions in there that'll pop up. So, why don't you, I can stay out with you.
Yeah.
And one room of 3 if you need to.
Sure. And I'm going to put you in with.
Or I can stay out too.
Yeah, well, Ingrid too doesn't have audio. She's only able to type. So maybe I'll put her in a group with 2 other people, right, Keri? Okay. So let me just, Ingrid, I'm going to move you.
Okay. So when you go, here's going to be the instructions. There's going to be a partner A and a partner B. Partner A is going to go first, while partner B is the one that is okay, what else? Okay, what else? Okay, what else? Okay, what else? Have fun with it. What I noticed, what I experienced was as you guys watched it, you got inspired. Smiles came across your face. You got excited for Gail. You got excited for what was coming up, right? So let yourself get excited about what the other partner is talking about. Be in that energy. Don't sell out on them, okay? Probably been a really long time since somebody actually asked and held space for what do you want for this long, okay? So give the gift, give the gift. And then you will switch, the other partner will go. And then I want you to give yourself some space to write down all the things that came up, because you will surprise yourself and say stuff that you're like, wow, I didn't know I wanted that. Okay?
And Keri, how many minutes total? And should I let them know after?
Yep. So you're going to do, once they start, you're going to go for 2 minutes and then give them a minute to write down what they just had, and then go for another 2 minutes, switch partners, go for another 2 minutes, write down for a minute. And then I want 1 minute apiece just for each partner to share what did they notice.
Got it.
Clear?
Yep. Okay, here we go, everybody. Just hit join breakout room, and I'll hit the alarm once everybody gets settled.
Okay.
We'll stop. Oh, Ingrid, I just put you in with Keri. So if you want to, there you go.
Way more fun conversation than half the conversations that we have. Because a lot of times we play on the surface. So imagine giving the gift of this conversation to 3 people this next week that you come in contact with. Talk about fun, because how much did you learn of the person that was across from you? A whole lot in a very short amount of time, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else was your experience? Anything else that you want to share that came up? Anybody blurt something out that surprised them?
Yes, Keri, I have a question or like maybe like, just a thought.
Yep.
So a lot of times, right, like I know my vision, I think of something like, to do like maybe this week, but then again, next week, I feel like something else. So it keeps changing or like maybe adding. So is that normal? And then do we have to like have a timeline, right? Okay, by, like as you were saying, like by next year or something. And then you redo it, like how does that work? I'm just curious.
Yeah, beautiful question. Okay, so when you're looking at it, this is where you play with just the open space, right? So this piece of it, this step is the open space. You're giving open space to the other person, especially if it's like a relationship person or your kids or a teammate or those types of things. Great exercise to do even when you're hiring someone. You can learn a whole lot about them. It's a great interview question. And you don't have to push them all the way through, but you can ask the question just to open the door to let them start thinking about what they want. So it is a great insight. Some people actually, like when they hire on people, that is the question they will ask, because they're like, if they aren't even in the idea or thought process of a vision, depending upon the role, that may not be a good fit. So it depends on the role. So, so people will ask it for that. So, so that is a great question that you can use in multiple time frames. What I advise for you to do is to do this once a year. So do this once a year. I always do it right before New Year. And so it's just, I always do a process right before a new year. I'm like, it's clean slate, it's clean new year, starting over. And I've got a whole process that I work through, but this is one of the questions that it's like, it's a free for all question. And so you just get to play bigger every single year. Now, what's really awesome is when you write it down, just because you started speaking it out and writing it down, certain things start moving and happening just because you started giving life to it. Okay. So what you want to do then, here's something that I would love for you to go back and do later tonight is look at what you wrote down, and I want you to circle the themes, because you will see really quickly what is your priority. Because here's what you may notice. You may notice that your family was really important in your vision when you did the exercise, but right now, if you did an honest check, maybe you're not spending very much time with them. I'm seeing some faces. So things like that you want to look at. And so you also may see that you actually have a drive to create something in your business, or go up to another level. There's a next level for you, stuff like that. So then look at who is it I get to be. This is really, really important. We'll actually do this exercise here in just a second. But who is it I get to be in order to create that? So when you look at your vision, 1, circle the things that you see as themes. And then 2 is I want you to, and this is what I want you to do right now. So on the next piece of paper or something like that, I want you to look at your vision that you wrote down, and I want you to write down the qualities that you had in that vision. What did you see? What were the qualities? So when we just listed out who's the person, who's the leader that you admire, and you listed out 3 qualities immediately, same exercise essentially, but you're now doing it off of yourself based off of the vision you just lived out. Okay, so grab a piece of paper, read through your vision really quickly, and then say, gosh, what are the qualities that I really noticed stood out here? What are those qualities? Write down the top 5, the top 3 to 5. And so just go do that right now. Top 3 to 5.
Keri, you're asking us to write down the top qualities that we need to have to fulfill our vision?
Yeah. So not to fulfill it, Go
Okay.
back and read it and say,
Yeah.
what qualities did I have to create that?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, I want 3 people to share what were the 3 to 5 qualities that you just wrote down.
I went with humility, kindness, flexibility, and intelligence.
Okay, and that's what showed up in your vision?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, great. Who else?
Mine was authenticity, integrity, altruism, strategic, and prosperous.
Okay, great. Anyone else? One more.
Communicative, inclusive, encouraging, supportive, and collaborative.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Drew was trying to say something too. Poor Drew hasn't gotten to speak all night.
Oh, speak. Go, Drew.
Hi, it's Drew from Chicago. It's warm here. I wrote down that I joined in with a new family because my family's remote and we're not traveling.
Okay.
And purpose and potential came out when I was talking with Winifred. And it was like, wow, don't just do it just for you. It's a bigger family and it could be the next door neighbor is your family now. So
yes,
there's a lot of purpose and a lot of potential. I came up with a tagline. Thank you. In 2 minutes or less. Thank you.
you're so welcome.
Good job, Drew.
So welcome. Yeah. So, okay. So here's what I want you. So going back to that question is put that on a Post-it note somewhere. Put it on your phone, so a reminder somewhere, something like that. Because here's the deal. If you have the vision, if you have the dream, it's possible. It's possible. It is, you have the capability for it to come true. You now know what qualities it takes. And if you can recognize them, you already have them. Okay? So if you have the dream, you have the ability to create the dream. Okay? It's only our limitations and our stories that are holding us back. So you get to create that dream. So then you want to look at, from the planners in the group, the controllers in the group, is, okay, what is the number one? And this is what I always tell people, go back to. What is the number one thing that is the most important that will move me forward? What is the number one thing that is the most important that will move me forward? What would happen if for the first 90 days, I focused only on, yes, there's a whole lot of other things that get to be done, all of those things. But what happens is life gets in the way if we let it. But if you say for 90 days, I am going to focus in on this one thing that I've determined, and you go back to the vision over and over and over, and you just say, 90 days, here's what I'm focusing on. And then in another 90 days, you look at it and you say, what worked, what didn't? And then you say, what am I focusing in on the next 90 days? So over the course of the year, you now have 4 things that you've moved forward rather than being spinning in a cycle. And we were talking about that earlier, getting out of the spin, okay? So you are anchored in that no matter what comes your way, during those 90 days, this one area is moving forward. Imagine moving 4 areas forward that much that are anchored into a vision that's going to create the most fulfilling, satisfying, epic, best year of your life. And so we make it simple. What's the one focus? And guess what? You get to do this with your employees because they've got their tasks, they've got their things, they've got all of those things. What is the one area? And so for many of them, it may be growing their leadership. It may be growing their communication. but let them identify it. Let them identify it. I've done this same exact example, only asking this one question to an entire team. And all of a sudden they were able to, they had Post-its all over the entire wall, entire room.
Yeah.
The energy is high. They're brainstorming ideas. They're totally thinking outside of the box. And then all of a sudden now they have an entire year's worth of ideas. And then as a team, they're like, okay, where can we align and where do we want to go? Imagine a team then like coming together and saying, here's 3 to 4 things that we're going to work on this year. It's incredible. And then if they do that themselves and it's tied to the vision, you've got major movement happening. And when they know their life's moving and their career's moving and the organization's moving, you've got loyal people that are excited, that are ready to be there. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. I've taught this before and had like presidents of banks turn around and go right back to the bank and be like, everybody in, and do the exercise right there. It shifts the energy. And when we're in possibility instead of circumstance, people want this energy. They just don't know it's available. Okay.
Can you repeat the prompt question we went into our small group with, and then the 2 words you kept repeating over?
Yeah, so the question was, you just had your most successful, most fulfilling, best year ever. What happened?
Thank you.
And then the question was, and what else?
What else? Oh, what else? Okay.
Yep. Okay, questions? We've got about 15 minutes left. There's a whole lot that I could teach you. But if you take this one thing and you actually focus in on it and you create a 90-day plan around it, like just imagine the needle moving and what can be created. And you anchor into this vision. You let your team know what the vision is. Let your family know what it is. People get excited when you're excited.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people wanting to win with you. Okay. Okay. So we've got a few minutes for questions. So I'm just going to open it up to 1, any ahas, and 2, any questions you have before we close. You're so welcome.
I have.
Bye, Jess.
Go ahead. Somebody had a question?
Yeah, can you just elaborate on, like, for the 90-day, like, for suppose I feel that, I'll be working on my leadership skills, right? Like, developing leadership skills. Can you just give me some ideas or tips on like how that will look like?
Okay, great. So give me one leadership. So leadership skills is super broad. So when you looked at your vision and you were like, man, the one leadership skill that's going to make a difference for me is?
You mean the qualities that we get?
Well, so if for you, if I looked at the first 90 days and I said, I want to increase my leadership skills, what is the one leadership skill that that immediately comes to mind that like that is going to make a massive difference for me?
Just thinking maybe collaborating or like communicating.
Okay, so communication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So what you would look at then is what are the things that I can do to improve my communication over the next 90 days? I'm going to fully focus on 90 days, improving my communication. Okay. So immediately what comes to mind?
I'm blank here.
That's okay. So are there books out there on communication?
Yeah, or like a training videos or something. I mean,
Yeah. And then you could go to certain people that you knew were really great in communication. Like imagine that there's a mentor at work that you're like, man, they're really good at communicating. I think I want to go and learn from them. Let me go ask them how they got really great at communicating. Most great communicators studied it, right? Or yes, somebody put in there Toastmasters. The Toastmasters is great. So even just putting out the energy of, I want to improve my communication, let me look at possibilities for improving communication and starting to have conversations about it, people are going to be doing just what they did, popped it in the chat and said, oh, hey, check this out, check this out. So what you would do is then over the 90 days say, you know, do I want to take a course during that time? Do I want to read a book during that time? Do I want to, what are the things that I do? And just create a focus for you of, is it a daily, a weekly, a monthly focus on communication? And then do you have a goal by the end of the 3 months that you would love to step into for your communication? So maybe there's a presentation you're wanting to give. Maybe there's a Toastmasters, you know, you're like, I want to be able to do that. Maybe for the fun of it, you sign up for a improv comedy and you really stretch yourself and you learn how to communicate and be funny, and it's fun, and it's like multiple buckets for you. Make sense?
Yeah.
But you totally focus on, I'm not signing up for a bunch of other courses. I'm not reading a bunch of other books. I'm focusing in on moving the dial on my communication. So imagine having that level of focus. Yeah, great question.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or any ahas that you want to share?
Ingrid, weren't you ahaing? Ingrid is stuck in
Yeah, she was having some tech issues, so she was able to type for us. So
I think of, and everything you were saying tonight, it just reminds me of how important it is to be authentic with ourselves.
Yeah, incredibly. All right. What was the most useful moment, thing you heard, thing you realized for tonight?
If you have the vision, it's possible.
Yes, I love that. What else? Like, what was one nugget for you?
Just to keep thinking bigger, not to have a small vision.
Allowing yourself the space to have that. Yeah.
Even with 2 minutes sharing with a sister is like, wow, I don't even know, but it came up, like, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what's actually
Special
already
time.
in us. Beautiful. Anything else?
I think it's okay to reevaluate, right? So reevaluate every 90 days to check on your progress, check on what's working, and then go back to, you know, your vision or start pivoting it to another direction that might be a stronger vision that came from what you learned from that previous.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Anything else?
Excuse me, hold on.
You're fine. You're fine.
Oh,
go ahead.
Isn't there a card? Yeah.
Anybody have anything that they wanted to share?
Is that, oh, that, okay. I just pulled it up because it was blown against the fence. So.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave you with a little Walt Disney quote. Every idea happens twice. Every idea happens twice because it starts in your mind and then it's created in your hand. It's created in the world. But it cannot be created, it's not created in your mind first. And as I've already told you, it's actually created in your heart when your mind's not controlling it. And so every idea comes from nowhere. Every idea comes from nowhere. And then that is how it's created. Imagine if Steve Jobs did not have the idea of this little computer we now have in our hand. Imagine that when somebody said, I'm going to land on the moon, right? All of those things were ideas and somebody thought they were crazy. Somebody thought they were crazy, but they stood for a vision, all the qualities that you guys just talked about, and then took whatever time it needed to make it happen. But they were willing. They were willing to go there. They were willing to be up against circumstances. They were willing to fail. They were willing to go there and not have regrets or reasons of why it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they had results and relationships.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, Keri.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here with us this evening.